there, welcome to this week's vlog. My name is Waceke Nduati of Centonomy. You know, as we get towards the end of the year, I'm just so excited about the plans for next year. This is the time when we're putting and thinking, what do we want to do different next year? One of the things, and something that is just very close to my heart, is people want to figure out, is 2016 the year when I really figure this thing out of business and entrepreneurship? A lot of people have told me, Waceke, I said that last year, I said that the year before, but this year is the year I want to do something. Now, entrepreneurship is close to my heart because I have personally experienced it. But we're now at Centonomy mentoring and working with people who want to become entrepreneurs through our course, which I'll talk about later. But if you're sitting there and wondering, how do I transition? Or what do I do with my business to take it to the next level? Number one, you are passionate about something. That's why you want to be an entrepreneur. It's not about the money. You don't become an entrepreneur because of the money. Of course, the money is important and figuring out how your product and service makes sense. But firstly, what are you passionate about? Can that become your business? Now, passion is a tricky. No one can tell you your passion, and that's one thing I always tell people when they try and ask me, which business should I start? I cannot tell you what business to start because you're the one who knows yourself. You know what you are passionate about. And a good way to identify passion is, what are these things that really bother you over and above how they bother other people? That's always a pointer. So for me, it bothered me when people were thinking that they can't create wealth or had a victim mentality towards money, and that is why I started a company that teaches people how to create wealth. That bothered me. It bothered me about myself. I wanted to create wealth for myself, but also when other people would talk like that. So what bothers you? Because most entrepreneurs, at the end of the day, they have started a business that addresses or solves a certain challenge. What problem are you seeing out there? Problems are always opportunities. What problems are you seeing out there that you feel motivated to play a part in solving? That leads you to your passion, and then you can figure out how do you actually make a business out of it and what angle you should take. Secondly, to become an entrepreneur, you will have to understand that entrepreneurs do not conform. People like using the phrase, think out of the box. With entrepreneurs, there just is no box. Because if you think about it, if you're always trying to think outside of a box and a box exists, you're always going to be looking for opportunities that are within or outside the boundaries of a box. There is simply no box. So you're not going to reinvent the wheel all the time. So you may be selling bread. So you may not be, bread is not a new invention, but how you sell it, how you package it, how you bake your bread, the kind of market for that bread or the kind of country for that bread is what can be different. So do not conform. Do not try and do what other people are doing. Entrepreneurship is best when you're doing you. So you do you to the best of your ability and don't have a victim mentality. By victim mentality, I mean you feel it is other people who are stopping you from doing it because they said, no, that won't work, or it will never happen that way, or that's just not the way it's done. You are not becoming an entrepreneur to conform. You're becoming an entrepreneur to bring a difference to society, to the world, that only you can bring. That leads me very naturally to my third point, other people's approval. Go around and talk to people who have started business or who have become entrepreneurs, and you will find that most of them have to overcome the people who might even be very close to them not understanding or not approving of what they want to do. So if you're still hung up on other people's approval, you will need to change, because entrepreneurship will force you to do things that other people don't understand. You see, at the end of the day, that passion and that vision you've been given, other people don't have the same passion and vision simply because they are not you. They have a passion and vision for something else that is them. So you cannot expect them to understand why you are going to do everything you're going to do, and you cannot expect to explain to other people all the time why you need to do something. Great if they get it, But even if they don't get it, be willing to take the risk and just do it. We have to be willing to experiment. Experimentation is part of it. So experiment and see where that leads you. Your first experiment may not work. My first business did not work, but in that business, I started talking to people, and that is when I realized my passion for teaching people to create wealth. So go ahead and experiment, whether other people believe it or not. And remember, experiments do not necessarily have to be you're quitting your job tomorrow. It could be you're starting it as something that you do on Saturday morning, what people like to refer to as a side hustle first. But at least it puts you in the journey. It puts you in front of that client. You start understanding the client first. So please, an entrepreneur, you do have to go out and experiment. Others may not understand your experiment, but do not let that stop you, because at the end of the day, it is you who will regret not ever trying. Next is what brings your entrepreneurial idea to life. Fine, you may have the passion, you may have gotten over fear and conforming to other people's expectations, but there's nothing that brings your idea to life as much as taking action, what we like to call execution. A lot of people have ideas. I can guarantee you 40 million Kenyans have ideas, but the people who execute are the minority. So don't overthink execution. Firstly, a lot of people stop themselves because they think they don't have capital. But capital has never stopped an entrepreneur. It's really about taking that first step. So it's not about going and immediately getting 1,000 clients. You get those clients reward consistency and seeing that something works. But do you have one client? Service that one client. Another action could be, are you researching your market? Are you researching the demand for your product or service? So fine, someone may be there and say, but I want to run a trucking business. I need capital to get my first truck. Yes, you need capital. But before you get the capital, have you done some research on that business? Have you researched how people got capital? Have you started talking to people about raising capital? Because most people just say, I don't have capital. They don't actually take an action. So take that action. Some people will say yes, some people will say no, but you will start to figure it out. So take an action. No one rewards passion or an idea. People reward execution. Next, there is nothing that will happen if you think you know it all. In entrepreneurship, you have to take on the attitude of a learner. You can always learn from somebody. When you sit down and talk to your customers, you learn something that they did not know. Remember, you're not the one who's going to buy your product. It's somebody else. Sit and ask them questions. When you see people who are doing what you want to do, ask them how they did it. And you can pick up lessons from everywhere. Someone could be in a completely different line of work or completely different career, but there is something. If you're wondering how to market your product or service, talk to someone who knows marketing. If you're wondering how do I use social media, talk to people who use social media. Things are changing, customer tastes are changing so quickly that we cannot afford not to be learning. And lastly, I'll say, you've got to keep yourself in the right company. You will thrive when you are in the environment and in the company of those who have gone before you. People call it mentorship, but it could easily start out as having a conversation with the right people. Is there someone who's an entrepreneur that you actually admire? Go out and talk to them. Go buy them a cup of coffee, talk to them, hear their story, hear their challenges. So along the way, you may get a mentor who will be able to work with you one-on-one, but don't stop because you don't have a mentor, because that's another excuse people use these days. Mentorship is everywhere. They may not meet you every day, but go out and talk to people. It could even be your auntie who has done something, your father, your mother, your sister, your brother. There's a friend you have who's running a business. Go out and start talking to them. As I said, at Centonomy, we're extremely passionate about entrepreneurship. We have now been running the Centonomy Entrepreneur for a year. We have graduated 100 people from this program, and we are so proud of already what they are doing. So entrepreneurship at the end of the day is an attitude. It is a way of thinking. We have people in our class who've taken this and started businesses. We've taken people who have taken these lessons and been able to transition from employment. We have people who've been been running a business, they've taken these lessons and moved their business to the next level. And we have people who have simply used the concepts even at their place of work, in their jobs, and been able to move up in their career. Entrepreneurship is an attitude, and first and foremost, we challenge, are you thinking the way an entrepreneur should think? We invite you this Friday to our offices at Victoria Plaza, Westlands. We are having our Centonomy Entrepreneur Open Day. This is a forum that we have to get people who are interested in entrepreneurship together so they can hear stories from people who have gone ahead. As you said, one of the things, you have to listen to those who have gone ahead. So next year, if you do want to take a serious step with your business, with your side hustle or transition, please do join us. People will tell you their stories, they'll tell you their failures, they'll tell you the challenges, but I can assure you, you will be inspired. I'll also be sharing my story. So welcome this Friday again, Victoria Plaza, Westlands. You can go online and look at our contacts and call in and get more information. But we invite you to come to this very, very, very special occasion and also hear more about the Centonomy Entrepreneur Program and what it can do for you next year in really making your dream become a reality. Thank you very much for joining us on this vlog, and I hope to see you at our Centonomy Entrepreneur Open Day.